It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both. If an injury has to be done to a man, it should be so severe that his vengeance need not be feared. Politics have no relation to morals. It is double pleasure to deceive the deceiver. There is nothing more difficult to take in hand, more perilous to conduct, or more uncertain in its success than to take the lead in the introduction of a new order of things. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. It is not titles that honor men, but men that honor titles. There is no avoiding war. It can only be postponed to the advantage of others. There are three kinds of intelligence. One kind understands things for itself. The other appreciates what others can understand. The third understands neither for itself nor through others. This first kind is excellent, the second good, and the third kind useless. Never was anything great achieved without danger. Before all else, be armed. The wise man does at once what the fool does finally. I'm not interested in preserving the status quo. I want to overthrow it. The more sand has escaped from the hourglass of our life, the clearer we should see through it. Severities should be dealt out all at once so that their suddenness may give less offense. Benefits ought to be handed drop by drop so that they may be relished the more. One who decides will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. Men ought either to be indulged or utterly destroyed, for if you merely offend them, they take vengeance. But if you injure them greatly, they are unable to retaliate, so that the injury done to a man ought to be such that vengeance cannot be feared. He who wishes to be obeyed must know how to command. The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. Men should be either treated generously or destroyed, because they take revenge for slight injuries, for heavy ones they cannot. One change always leaves the way open for the establishment of others. Hatred is gained as much by good works as by evil. Where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great. Whosoever desires constant success must change his conduct with the times. It is much more secure to be feared than to be loved. The fact is that a man who wants to act virtuously in every way necessarily comes to grief among so many who are not virtuous. A son can bear with equanimity the loss of his father, but the loss of his inheritance may drive him to despair. Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims for his deceptions. God is not willing to do everything and thus take away our free will and that share of glory which belongs to us. No enterprise is more likely to succeed than one concealed from the enemy until it is ripe for execution.